Welcome to the Program Design Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Monique, teacher and curriculum writer turned program mentor and business strategist for coaches, educators, and online experts. Whether you're looking to create your first ever group coaching program or scale your current offer for more freedom, revenue, and consistent income, this is the podcast for you. Here you'll find practical strategies and encouragement mixed with a bit of manifestation and intuition to help you grow and design a program you absolutely love. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Program Design Podcast. I want to chat with you today about how to know if it's time to get a job and if you're really cut out for entrepreneurship. So I'm going to be honest, at the time of recording, we're going to see how this goes because I am bound and determined to get this episode out here because I'm feeling so sparked on this topic. But it's also spring break and my kids just rolled in with my husband. So we'll see how it goes. And consider this your permission too, that when you create content, it does not have to be perfect. It's more about showing up the way that you want to and really being of service and helping people. So that's what we're going to do today. And I wanted to chat about, is it time for you to get a job? How do you know if you're really cut out for this whole entrepreneurship thing? Do you want to let it go? Like, what can you do in these kinds of moments? Because we have absolutely all been there. So I remember a few years ago now, I was in this very same situation. And sometimes my business was bringing in money. Sometimes it wasn't. And my husband had been pushing me, just do some TOCing, which is what we call substitute teaching. So I remember one day, I was sitting in an office feeling so incredibly irritable. I was sitting in this office in this old rolly chair, and I was at this desk that had been built like probably in the 90s with all these stacks of paper around me. And I was trying to work at my computer and people were all around me, moving all around. And I remember feeling so incredibly frustrated that I was even in this situation and trying to work with all of this noise around me and also feeling a little bit guilty that I was even doing it. And the reason is I was substitute teaching that day. I was TOCing, is what we call it here in BC. And the reason is at this point, this was a few years ago now, my business felt so unpredictable. My revenue felt very unpredictable. Sometimes it went well and other times it didn't. And it was so up and down and it was really stressing me out and it was really stressing my husband out. And so he said, you're a teacher. Why don't you just come and substitute teach? And then when you have prep time and you have time off, like you can work in your business. Like I can get you some substitute teaching jobs like at my work. It'll be great. You can double dip. And I refused. I did not want to do that. But it came to a point where it felt like I was taking so much from my family. It wasn't crazy in debt, but I had some debt from the business. And I felt like, oh my gosh, I guess I just need to just do this. Like I need to go back and get some like consistent income because I need to be able to support my family. And right now I feel like I'm taking it from it in my business. So I said, fine. I'm going to go back and I'm going to go substitute teach. And so I did it a couple days. And then one day I went in my husband's school. And so I was in this like smaller office and I was trying to work even though it was like my prep time. And I kind of felt weird that I was like working on my business, even though I was in this school and I wasn't really supposed to be doing that. But what was I supposed to be doing anyway? And I felt uncomfortable because I didn't have my own classroom and like, what was I even doing? And it felt like I moved backwards. And I was just in this spiral of feeling so incredibly irritated that I was even there in the first place, that I was even in this point of like, I absolutely hated every single minute of being in this school. And I thought, oh my gosh, my husband's colleagues are going to think I'm a huge bee because I am so irritable. I tried not to show it, but I was like pissed that I was there. And it wasn't even that I didn't like teaching. I still love teaching. That's why I still do what I do. I still really like teaching. I still really like coaching. But I did not want to substitute teach. No one knew who I was. Like it was a tough gig. And I did not want to do that. And I knew that if I was going to teach, I would have to go all in. I couldn't do this substitute teaching thing. It made me so incredibly miserable. Or I was going to do this entrepreneurship thing. And I remember sitting in that office feeling so incredibly angry that I was like, that is it. I am so done with this. I am never setting foot in a school again. I can't even tell you how much of a visceral reaction I had that day. And I was bound and determined to make this work for me, because I thought about going back and maybe having my own classroom. And though I would like that in some ways, like I still really like teenagers. I think they're really fun. In some ways I would like that. And I like that predictability and safety. I thought about that. And in that moment, I was like, I will always feel like the thing I'm really meant to do, I close the door on. Like the thing I actually am here to do. Like I love business. I love entrepreneurship. I love always going after new goals. I love growth. I will never be a full version of myself if I go back to the classroom. Like I cannot do that. This is not for me. I have to make entrepreneurship work. Like it was like a line in the stand moment for me. Like one of my coaches called it like an I'm done moment. Like I am done with straddling both worlds of like always thinking, well, I can just go back to substitute teaching if my business doesn't work. I was like, no. I am done with what if this doesn't work mentality. I am making this work. And it was like a complete decision that I am going to make this happen. And everything started to shift in my business. And I'm going to share with you what I did to make this happen in a moment. But I wanted to share this moment with you because I want to normalize. I think people don't talk a lot about it, but entrepreneurship is not easy. And a lot of us go through that moment of like, am I even cut out for this? Should I really be doing this? Maybe I should just get a job. This is too hard. This is too stressful. I'm not making the money I need. Like, what if I can't pay myself? All of those things. And I just want to normalize that because sometimes I think we think like, oh, if I quit my business, I'm a failure. I'm a loser. I couldn't even make this work. How embarrassing. I'll have to tell everyone that I'm back at a job when I was an entrepreneur. And like, we make it mean all of these things. But the first thing I want to say is if you are thinking about leaving entrepreneurship, it doesn't mean anything about you. You don't need to make it mean that you're a failure, that you're a loser, that you've done something wrong. It's not going to be for everybody. And that is okay. You might try it for a while and you might go into a new season where you want a part-time job or a full-time job, and it's just not for you at this point. And that is okay. And giving yourself permission to decide what is right for you without any judgment on yourself is so, so important. But for me, what I realized in that moment is that I did not want to do that. And I wanted to really make entrepreneurship work. But I want to backtrack here a little bit because sometimes my clients will say to me like, but you're such a natural entrepreneur, which is like the biggest compliment ever. But you're such a natural entrepreneur. Like, I just don't know if I really have what it takes like you do. And I want to tell you that I did not have that for the longest time. I felt like a teacher pretending to have a business. I never felt like an entrepreneur. I always felt like I was kind of faking it. And it wasn't until a few years prior that I was at an event and I was in New York City. And I remember listening to people talking around me about like how they made these sales happen and how they grew their business and how they were going out there and talking to people and making conversations happening and like just going for things. And I was like, wow, I don't do that. Like I run the business really well. If you've been in my world for a while, you can tell I'm a systems thinker. Like I think in systems, that's just how I am. I ran the business well. I organized it well. I love coaching and teaching. That came to me really easily. And if you're anything like me, you do the thing you do because you loved your craft. You love the coaching, the mentoring, the supporting people, helping people in the thing that you do. But the actual entrepreneurship stuff, I was like, oh, like I am not acting like an entrepreneur. Like I am not an entrepreneur. And so I had to espouse that identity. And so a few years later, when I had that moment of like, oh my God, what am I doing? I cannot do this anymore. I decided in that moment that I'm like, no, I am an entrepreneur. Like I'm not a teacher anymore. I'm not straddling these two identities. Like this is me. I still identify as a teacher because I am an educator and I still help people. I teach people all the time, but that is not my primary like school teacher. I am not a school teacher anymore. And so I let go of that identity and I decided I was becoming an entrepreneur and I was going to do things that entrepreneurs do to make this happen for myself. So the first thing for you to even think about as you're listening to this right now is like, a question to ask yourself is, are you saying to yourself that entrepreneurship is for other people and it's not for me? Or like, I don't identify as an entrepreneur, or like, I'm not really an entrepreneur. Notice that that is a story that you have told yourself that you have made true, because you can become an entrepreneur. You can decide that's who you are and you become it. Just like maybe if you're listening and you're a mom, like I wasn't always a mom. I had to become that identity. And now I see myself as a mom and I act like a mom and I am very much a mom, but I wasn't always. I needed to step into that identity, just like I needed to step into becoming a teacher. I needed to step into becoming an entrepreneur. I needed to step into becoming a coach. You can become an entrepreneur, even if you don't see yourself that way, just by deciding that's who you are. Like you can become that identity. So that's the first thing to think about is, are you saying that this is for someone else and not for me? Are you letting that voice in your mind dictate what's possible for you? And is that why you're thinking you should go to get a part-time job because you're tired of pretending? Or because you actually were an entrepreneur, but you're not sure you want to be one anymore? There's a difference in that distinction. The other thing to think about when you're thinking about going back to a job is also around that financial security. And are you creating that financial security for yourself and your business? Because that's something that I want to share. But when you think about going back to get a part-time or full-time job, the thing to think about is from an like a nervous system place and a safety place. Like, do you have the money to actually even invest in your business or grow your business? Or do you feel like you're just scraping by and it's really stressing you out? Maybe it is time for you to get a job so that you feel safer. There's nothing wrong with that. Or do you actually have enough money, but it's like all the mind chatter and the fear that's stopping you from actually going all in it? Like, what is the thing that's making you think about getting a part-time job? Some people they don't want to be entrepreneurs. Like my husband has a side hustle. I don't think he'll ever be a full-time entrepreneur because that's not his thing. So like, are you deciding to go back to a part-time job because it's really not your thing and you don't love the parts of like the marketing, the business and the sales and like organizing, growing the business? Like, is that not for you? Maybe you want to just go back and work for somebody else and just do coaching, for example. Like that's okay. Or is it something that you really, really want to do, but you're afraid and you have the money to do it, but you're giving yourself all these reasons that it's not possible for you. So getting to the bottom of like, where is this coming from and where do you really want to go with it? So for me, what I decided is I'm like, no. I am an entrepreneur. This is for me. I want to make this work. The thing that I'm missing right now is more of a sense of financial security. That is truly why I think about getting a part-time job. It's not because I don't want to do it. I love running the business. And another way you can think about this is like, if everything was quote unquote working, if you were making enough money in your business, if you had the money and everything was working, would you still want to do the things in business? Would you still want to market? Would you still want to make sales? Would you still want to run the business? Would you still want to do some of those scary things to grow? If the answer is yes, maybe it really is that you're meant for entrepreneurship. And if the answer is no, maybe it is time for you to go and get a job because like, if you really don't want to do those things, that's part of running a business, right? But the thing that I was missing that made all the difference once I decided I was all in, like fully all in. I have not stepped into a classroom since that as a substitute teacher ever again. And that was a number of years ago now, is I realized I was missing a vital piece to making my business work. And when I think about it, I want to share this with you because it can kind of help you. So sometimes what I hear and what I thought is like, if I could just have my students in front of me, like it was so much easier when I was a teacher, like they just showed up at my doorstep and I could teach them, right? And maybe you're a coach or a therapist or something. And it's like, you love the work you do, but actually going out to get the clients is the challenging part. Once you have them, like once you have the clients or the patients or whatever it is that you support people with, once you have them there, you love it, but it's the actual like going out and getting them. That is the challenge, right? And that's how I was feeling. But it's not that I actually minded marketing and sales. It's that my marketing and sales weren't working as well as I wanted them to work, right? So I started thinking about like schools, and I started realizing that for schools to be filled with students, they have a system to make that happen. They have kids that register and show up in my classroom, right? They have a whole way of getting the local kids or getting the kids that if it's a choice school, how they're getting those kids from the local community, from being a kid in the community to a kid in the school. There's a whole system that goes into it. There are ways that you can find out that you can register your child, who you go to talk to, where you go to sign up for that. There's a whole background system that goes on before that kid shows up in your classroom as a teacher. And that is what I needed to create in my business. I needed to have a way regularly of being able to bring people who are fits for me into my world. And they're not going to show up at my door like they would in the classroom. I needed to go out and get them, right? And so what I realized that I needed a system that would bring in clients for me regularly. And what I really wanted was a repeatable sales system, a sales system that took people regularly from potential clients to becoming clients on a regular basis. So now at the time of this recording, I have a repeatable sales system and I have monthly webinars where I invest in ads, and you don't have to use ads to make this work. I'm going to come back to this. I invest in ads. Then people come to my webinars. A portion of those people book sales calls with me, and then they become clients. And I repeatedly do this, and I bring in people to both my programs, pilot program and signature program, every single month. And now my next challenge that I'm moving towards is doing even more regular, like more frequent webinars so I can grow those programs bigger because I have a repeatable sales system in place. That's mine, right? But what I find is a lot of times we think that entrepreneurship isn't for us because we're missing a key engine, that sales engine, that repeatable sales system in our business. So we can get into this place of like delivery. And then you finish delivering all your stuff to your clients. And then you're like, shoot, I have no clients again. I have no money coming in. And then you scramble to try and find new clients. Or you're just dependent on referrals. So sometimes it works well and sometimes it doesn't because you get referrals and then you get people coming in and then you don't have referrals and then you have no money. And then it feels like completely out of your control if you're going to get paid. Like businesses can't run like that. That is so stressful on your nervous system. You need to have a way to consistently get in front of people and show them how you can support them, make an offer, and they can become a client of yours. And you need to be able to do that while you're still delivering what it is that you deliver on if you're a service-based, like if you're a coach or a mentor or whatever, right? And what I see is so there are sometimes where people are like, it's really not for me. Entrepreneurship's really not for you. And if it's not, and you want that consistency, you really just I don't want to do the marketing, the sales, and the running the businesses and finances and all the other stuff that need to happen, the roles that need to exist within a business. I just really want to coach. I just really want to teach. I just really want to mentor, whatever it is. Awesome. Maybe you want to get a job. And there's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to make it mean that there's anything wrong with you. It's just about choosing the right path for you. But if you're like, no, I really want to run the business. I want to build a business. I want to grow the business. I'm ambitious. The risk is worth it for me. I love I'm getting better at the marketing. Don't tell yourself you're bad at marketing. You are improving at your marketing. You want to do all those other pieces, but it's still stressing you out. My guess is odds are pretty good is you don't have a repeatable sales system that are actually bringing you in clients regularly. That's what you need to have to make it feel like it is doable for you. You need to have a way of being paid every month, be it through recurring revenue or new sales, but a way that if you're like, oh, we need more sales this month, this is what I'm doing. And it's not even like a reactionary thing. It's something that you're doing regularly. So you always have a new influx of people coming into your business where you can make money. Because if you don't have that, you are constantly in this state of fight or flight every time you don't have enough money. So do you have a repeatable sales system where it can vary? Like it might be like you're speaking once a month, or you're guesting on podcasts, or you're growing on Instagram, and then you have a way of turning those new Instagram followers into leads and sales. Maybe you're like me and you're using ads and they're going to like a 5-day challenge or a webinar or something, but you need to have a way of bringing people regularly into your world. And I personally prefer it to be consistent and regular, like every month. I'm moving to every week. You wouldn't have to necessarily go to every week, but like every month, every quarter at least, that you have a way regularly. So you're not in this reaction mode in your business. You are in a constant, like, this is how I run the business. It's a repeatable rhythm that I follow. It doesn't always need to be automated either, but it's like, this is what I always do regularly. When I do this, clients come in. Like I have a way to bring clients in. And if you want help with that, do message me on Instagram. That's what I do. But having that and deciding I'm creating a repeatable sales system. And yeah, it didn't happen overnight. But when I created that, and now I know anytime I run a webinar, I will get clients. Every single time. I will make more than I put into ads. It is the most freeing, calming feeling that I know I can get new clients. Like it's not up to chance. It's not like maybe I'll make sales, maybe I won't. Like I know when I want to make more sales in my business, this is what I need to do. And it's just part of my rhythm. Just like I record podcasts and I have a podcast that goes out every week, I have a way to bring in new clients into my business every month because I have a repeatable sales system. And so once I decided that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and entrepreneurship was for me, then I was like, okay, how am I going to make sure I get paid all the time? Because if you don't have a repeatable sales system, it's like you're not showing up to work. Like you need to make sure you get paid. And when you have a regular way of doing it, it is so much more calmer on your nervous system. So I hope this episode was helpful for you. Do let me know if anything resonated with you. I'd love to hear from you, but let's recap. So know that if you're in that moment of like, am I really cut out for this? Like, so many of us go through this. I would say probably most entrepreneurs go through this. And it's about deciding like, yes, I want to do this. No, I don't. And there's nothing wrong with deciding you don't want to do it. Deciding like, do I really want to, now that I actually know what it's like to run a business and all the pieces that need to be in place, do I want to do that? Or do I want to get a job? Do I want to have more of the safety, security, and not doing all those other things? Or if you do decide that you do want to be the entrepreneur and you want to espouse that identity and you're in it and you have the financial, like, because it takes a while to get a repeatable sales system going. Like it's not going to happen overnight necessarily. Like, do I have the financial means to make this happen? And maybe you're like, you know what? I know I want to be an entrepreneur. I know I want the repeatable sales system, but I still need a little bit of consistency until I get that. Maybe you get a part-time job. That's totally fine. Coaches always say like, just get a few one-on-one clients. Yeah, like it's really that easy to get one-on-one clients. It can be. Maybe you get some one-on-one clients. Maybe you get a part-time job if you decide that. And then the thing you absolutely need is to make sure you have a repeatable sales system so that your sales don't feel unpredictable, so that they feel predictable and consistent. So then you can worry about other things in the business like systems or delivery or growing your team or whatever. But you need to have a flow of revenue coming in regularly. That's what takes you out of fight or flight. And it is so key because I think a lot of us leave the business world and our businesses not because we didn't want to, but because we didn't find a way to bring in people consistently. And we finally had to be like, I can't take this anymore. And we give up. And that's fine if that's for you. But if you're like, no, I don't want to give up, know that that's the thing that you need to make your business sustainable. And once I got that, I was like, oh, I can't tell you how much calmer I feel knowing that I always know I can get, like if I needed a new client next week, I know exactly what I would do to do that. I have a rhythm regularly that I bring in clients regularly. And that's what I want for you too. When you have that, everything becomes so much easier and calmer. And I think we underestimate how much that is required to make your business work for you. So I'd love to hear if this landed for you. If you had any questions, send me a message on Instagram. If you found this helpful, leave me a review on iTunes. It's always very, very appreciated. I hope this was helpful for you. Send me a message. I'd love to hear. I'll see you on the next episode of the Program Design Podcast.